Thank you very much, Chairman Griffith and Ranking Member DeGette, for holding this important hearing today. And I also want to thank our witnesses for taking time to testify. As a physician, I think the bills before us today that we're discussing are extremely important. We also know that Medicare is on pace to spend $1 trillion treating cancer over the next decade, and approximately 1 million Medicare beneficiaries will be diagnosed with cancer this year. This unfortunate reality is that much of the treatment will be limited, and as far too many of these cancers are caught too late. Late-stage cancer diagnosis are the deadliest, require treatments that take the hardest toll on patients, and cost the most to treat. It's why I was proud to co-author the Nancy Gardner-Sewell Medicare Multi-Cancer Early Detection Screening Coverage Act with my colleagues, Representative Hudson, Arrington, Sewell, Ruiz, and Kelly. This critical legislation gives CMS the authority to cover multi-cancer early detection tests once they're approved by the FDA, ensuring our nation's seniors have access to groundbreaking innovation that will transform how we diagnose and prevent cancer progression. And as we know, once covered by Medicare, we would see it covered by other payers as well. If we're going to win the war on cancer and defeat this common enemy, we have to unleash the power of innovation. And I also want to thank our audience here with the American Cancer Society for their support of this legislation. And that's what this legislation does. It's what physicians, cancer experts, and patient advocate communities are calling on us to do, to early detect and unleash the power of innovation to do so. I'm especially proud of the fact that this bill is truly the most popular healthcare bill in Congress, having earned the support of over 300 co-sponsors and hundreds of cancer health, rural, and medical societies who recognize its transformative potential. Mr. Royce, for patients, the experience of being diagnosed with cancer at stage 1 or stage 2 versus stage 3 or 4 can mean very different treatment plans and outcomes. It can also mean the difference between life and death. Here's just one example. The 5-year cancer survival rate for stage 1 colorectal cancer is over 90%, but it drops to around 15% when found at stage 4. Can you speak to how early detection changes treatment options, quality of life, and return to productivity for cancer patients?
I can, thank you. And you know, I misspoke earlier when I gave the statistics. I said the survival rate for a stage 4 pancreatic cancer is 13%. It's actually 4%. So the difference is at stage 4, 4% chance, 5-year survival rate. Stage localized, which is 1 or 2, is a 44%. And those numbers are going up. Treatments are getting better. But it's important to note that especially in pancreatic cancer, we've heard about how we're getting better at treating cancer, or detecting it at least, and treating it. But not all cancers. Pancreatic cancer has been increasing over the years. Over the last 10 years, last 20 years, last 30 years, it has increased. So there's something going on here that we really don't understand. And that makes it, and it might be partly because there is no test like there is for colorectal, just specific to pancreatic cancer. In fact, I would say MCED is the only test I know of that you could use to find this sort of cancer.
Yes. Thank you. Mr. Ezell, you wrote a paper that calls MCED a transformative opportunity. Why do you call it transformative?
Well, because you know, what is driving so much of the biopharmaceutical industry for today is this marriage of biochemistry and information technology, right? You look at the ability of artificial intelligence to identify new drugs, the protein folding, is understanding the morphology of cells and how you can deliver therapeutic in the body to adhere to that cancer cell. And even the companies are developing cancer nanotubes that could, in theory, kind of go into the body like a cancer mousetrap and second it out of the body. So this is artificial intelligence, right? This is machine learning. And this is the marriage of these technologies. And I think that's why, and you know, they're evolving. We have 600,000 patients in clinical trial for this now. But as I said earlier, I think now that we have an information technology element, an always on, always learning approach to cancer detection, I think that's
Thank
what
you.
really
And if I can ask, because my time is running out, we just heard some criticism about federal government spending. And having been in an academic medical center on faculty, I would see the benefits of research, funding by the NIH, but then that taken, as we've seen by our witnesses today, into the private sector, into starting a new business and an entrepreneurial business. So is there, you know, some benefit to having the NIH share in something that's taken to the marketplace, i.e. having royalties. Has anybody thought of that, and wouldn't that be another way to help fund NIH and research through the United States? Yes or no, because we're out of time.
There's complementarity between public and private investment in R&D. And what the taxpayer gets when they fund the NIH is that basic research, looking at biochemistry and understanding biomarkers in the body. When they pay for a drug, they're paying separately for the clinical trial activity and development to bring a drug to market.
I think that's very valid, that there is both public and private research, and the federal government is not the only source of research and research funding. With that, I yield. Thank you.